Okay, this is my experience with the little tips and tricks. Just a few explanations of what happened during the Mdfi low light handgun class I went to. I actually went out for the entire weekend, did the low light long gun class the consecutive day, worked out great, drove an hour and a half away, stayed at a hotel, and ended up doing a 2-for-1. Quick disclaimer, Mdfi had no knowledge that I was doing this video. They didn't offer me any compensation, any free classes, or otherwise. In order to make this class, in fact, Trek didn't know anything about it until I asked to sit down with them and do a little interview that you're going to see at the end of this video. Let's go over the topics covered and required equipment for the Mdfi low light handgun class. First, it starts off with in-depth firearms responsibility and safety with medical briefing, positive target identification. This goes to the class mantra or the class motto, which is, I will positively identify all of my targets. Something to remember, because I didn't. Utilizing a defensive pistol in low light and no light conditions. Handheld light techniques. My dogs are going crazy. Apparently they're at a rave upstairs. Weapon mounted light techniques. Use of light guidelines. Ammo, gear, and light choices. This is something that we actually kind of figured out. Having ammo that is really dirty or produces a lot of smoke when firing will inhibit the ability of your light to pierce through that and positively identify your target. So something to keep in mind, especially with your defensive ammo. Requirements: semi-automatic handgun, handheld light, 300 to 400 rounds of ammunition, 3 magazines or more. You're still going to be loading magazines. Got a tip for that. Quality holster that can hold your weapon with a weapon mounted light. 2 red glow sticks. These are positive identifiers for you as a student, so that way we can tell when people are downrange or wherever on the range itself. We usually clip those front and rear in like a belt loop. I use Forge Concepts little light cables here. I'll put a link in the description. They worked out great. I liked them. Eye and ear protection, of course. And you must bring your CPL or law enforcement credentials. They also have a workaround with that if you don't have either one of them. And this is just to ensure that Mdfi is providing instruction and training to people that are good guys and not the bad guys. Recommendations: weapon mounted flashlight, headlight with a red light option. I say that's a requirement. Quite honestly, believe me, get a good red headlight. You will not be disappointed. Appropriate clothing for the weather, of course. Sunscreen or insect repellent. It's in Michigan. September, the mosquitoes will literally carry you away if you don't have it. Folding canopy, table, or chairs. I brought a chair and worked out of the back of my vehicle. I'll show you a picture. It worked out really good for me, but you do you. Snacks and drinks for 8 hours. Stay hydrated. Make sure you keep your nutrition up. And spare batteries. Spare batteries for not only your optic, if you have a red dot on your pistol, and spare batteries for your handheld and weapon mounted lights. After we went through an outline of the class, we ended up going to shoot the Foundation Handgun Qualifier. If you don't know what that is, it's on an 8.5 by 10 or 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. 12 out of 14 in the box, with the rest being on the paper, is advanced. 12 out of 14 on the paper is passing. For the Foundation Handgun Qualifier, there are 4 parts. All of them have a 6-second part time. First part, compress ready, 5 rounds. Part 2, from the holster, 4 rounds. Part 3, compress ready, 1 round, speed reload, 2 rounds. Part 4, 1 round, emergency reload, slide lock reload, 1 round. And lock back again. We got it done. Once everybody passed those, we knew we were good. Everyone was proficient with a firearm, at least shooting it, handling it. We went on to our class itself. I don't have the equipment to be able to film at night, so a lot of the footage that I got did not work out well. I did my best, but it didn't work. New content creator problems, I guess. So we ended up getting pairing up in the class. I think we had a total of 18 people. You count off 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Very complicated stuff. Don't mess it up. They will razz you about it. But it is an ego-free zone, it's just joking. I actually ended up getting paired up in my relay of 1 and 2 with a guy named Nick. He's actually a paramedic from downriver somewhere. I forget exactly where. Sorry, Nick, but shout out, Nick. How you doing? And it was a great class. It was good. We were able to provide each other feedback during each revolution of training. Each time we went up there, we were able to critique and give each other tips and tricks and how to manage things and how to manipulate our firearms and all the tools we have on our belt.
Whether that's ammo dry or actual rounds jammed in the gun, fix it, shut the light off. You guys know how to do it. Here we go. Here we go. Stand by. Bump. Light first. Oh shit, there he is. Burn him down.
Before we started, we explained why we were all there and why we were attending that class. And one of the things that was echoed the most amongst all of my classmates was we don't get an opportunity to train at night. I mean, think about it. How often do you train at night? I've trained at night twice in my entire life. That's the opportunities I've had, and both of them have been at classes. Well, I guess 3 times now. And having this opportunity was immense, and you don't know what you don't know. Something else that was said in the class. The instructors for my class were Trek, the owner of Mdfi, and Derek. One of the things said during the class was bring your own lumens. This was kind of hammered home in the final test of the class. The last scenarios we went over, where you might have another light pointing at you, and you need to overcome that light that's pointing at you with a more powerful light in order to gain perspective and properly identify the target that you have in front of you, or lack of target you have in front of you. This is where investment in high quality, high lumen, high candela flashlights really comes into play, and it really makes you appreciate that expensive equipment that's expensive for a reason. Starting with the pistol, this is a build that I actually did out of a hodgepodge of different high quality parts. It's a Shadow Systems 918 frame with the Zafriti Products slide that was just on clearance. I believe it's the ZP1 slide. This has the Johnny Glock's Custom Evolution trigger in it for competition. It has a very light striker spring. And in turn, about 1,100 rounds through this gun now, once it starts to get dirty, I get light primer strikes. So I'm going to be switching out for the 5-pound spring in this to see if I can increase reliability. I have the HoloSun 507C. Something I learned about in this class with the 507C. On the flat range, with no pressure, I can shoot a red dot okay. I have been using iron sights for 20 plus years of shooting, and I just have not learned to get good with a red dot yet. So I might be attending Mdfi's Dot Life class to do that. Until that time, this is coming off. My weapon light is a Streamlight TLR1 HL. Other than that, it also has suppressor height night sights. My holster, JM Custom Kydex. Love this holster, works great for me on the range. Never had a problem with it. It fits great. The purchase is great inside of it. I don't know if it's a holster issue or a Cerakote issue, but you can see on the front here, maybe with the lights being bright, there we go. The Cerakote's starting to wear off. I think that might be more of a Cerakote issue, or just I've practiced that much with this gun and in and out of the holster during drills that it's just show and wear, and that's okay. This is a tool. It's meant to be used. If you're not a subscriber at your favorite libertarian on YouTube, go over there, check him out, subscribe, tell him I sent you, because I took this trick from him. Mark your magazines. You're going to be working in the dark, magazines are going to be falling on the firing line, and you're not going to know whose are whose. I used a cheap paint marker and just put some dots on the back in a nice little patriotic theme. Alright, other gear that I used. These are the Forge Concepts Chem Keepers. I ordered a set of these. They kind of just thread on here. Great for keeping your PID, personal identification, the glow sticks, on your belt. Bring a notebook. This is all-weather Write in Rain pen and paper, just in case. Not a bad idea at all. This was the light I brought. This is the Streamlight Scorpion HL. It's a great light, but in conjunction with this Streamlight, this cheap belt holder or holster for it, it was not ideal. It would stick in there due to the rubber coating that's on here, and I had a really hard time getting it out with any kind of expedience. definitely going to make some changes there. Headlamp, this is not an optional piece of equipment in my opinion. This is the Princeton Viz, I remember correctly. It is great, very bright headlight. It puts out a red, a green, a blue, and then there's directions on the back on how to get the different white lights out and pushing the button in a sequence. This is my core belt. Inexpensive, great, very adjustable, very sturdy, rigid. I wear this almost every day. I've got 2 or 3 of them. They're great, highly recommend them. You go with whatever belt works for you. A piece of equipment that you should bring, in my opinion, a dump pouch. This is just a cheap Midway USA one. I totally forgot to bring it. One of the other things I guess I'll leave to this class is, other than the description and all of the light techniques we went over, which was searching with a handheld light, searching with a weapon light, which isn't always preferable. You definitely don't want to be pointing a gun and a light at somebody that you don't intend to shoot. So the secondary use of a handheld light was very important learning about in this class. Even though it was only 8 hours, I feel like I retained a bunch of information that's very, very helpful. And one thing I know I will always have in my EDC now is a flashlight, night or day. Can't recommend it enough. Okay, this leaves us with our final tips. Number 1, pack the night before. Don't forget any equipment. Tip number 2, when you get to the hotel, don't make 3 trips bringing in camouflage bags and 2 rifle bags. You're gonna get a lot of weird looks from the staff there. Use the little dolly bellhop carts that they have. Make a quick trip, less conspicuous. Tip number 3, download a couple of your mags for the qualifier and make them easier to seat with your reloads. Tip number 5, bring a mag loader. You're gonna like it. The mag loader I ended up bringing was the American Speed Loaders for a 9mm Glock. They're actually made right here in my home state of Michigan, and they're actually made in Caro. You see a lot of the Amazon Chinese knockoffs. These have a warranty. They stand behind their product. They're great. I've had this for a long, long time. Loaded no less than 3,000 or 4,000 rounds. No issues with it. It still even looks like new. Hardly has any wear. Not sponsored by them, just it works for me. So I'm gonna tell you about it. Tip number 6, bring a red headlight. Tip number 7, bring a notebook, something to write with. Take some notes. You're gonna wanna refer back to them. Even some of the revolutions, the drills, and dry practice that you can do at home, you're gonna wanna write that stuff down. Get the most out of your training you possibly can. Another tip, test your equipment before you end up going to this class. The class is gonna be a good test of itself, but you're gonna wanna make sure you have good working equipment before you end up getting there, or at least bring some backups with you. Tip I already mentioned, make sure you mark your mags and go visit your favorite libertarian on YouTube. Tell them I sent you. Final thoughts. This class I provided several tips to. If you end up following those tips, I believe you will get the most you can out of this particular class. It's an opportunity to train at night. We don't have that opportunity very, very much, depending on where you train. It was a very different environment to be able to train in. Half the time it's dark outside. It was a great opportunity. I will be attending it again and again. I can guarantee it. This along with the long gun low light class that Mdfi provides. If you have the opportunity to attend this class, I strongly recommend it. You will not be disappointed, and if you are, come back to this video, post a comment below and tell me how I'm a stupid asshole. So please stick around for the end of the video when I actually get to sit down with Trek and ask him a few questions about the class. Unfortunately, it didn't record all the way through. Again, new content creator problems, camera issues. I'm still new here, guys. Take it easy on me. But most importantly, what I am going to leave you with, I'm not going to tell you to subscribe or like. You can do that on your own if you'd like to. I'd appreciate it if you did, but I'm not going to ask you to. What I am going to ask you to do is take your kids, niece, nephew, grandkids, spouse, husband, wife, new shooter, neighbor, somebody that doesn't have a lot of experience with firearms. Teach them about safe gun handling. Teach them to respect and learn about firearms, because if they end up loving guns, they'll never have money for drugs. We'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by. First off, can you tell me who you are?
My name is Eric Utrecht. Everybody calls me Trek. I'm the owner of Mdfi Training out of Michigan.
All right, great. What do you like the most about your low light training?
Well, one, a lot of armed citizens don't get to do low light training. And of course, we know that the 50% of the time we're in the dark, and statistically for especially armed citizens, it's probably going to be some sort of nighttime self-defense scenario in the home or around the home. And so it's great to have people that have really good daylight skills to come out and get to try their gear and learn new techniques to, one, utilize their firearm properly in conjunction with either a handheld light or a weapon-mounted light, or a conjunction of both, but also to learn the very, very important part of positive identification of a target, which is what leads so many
people that wake up in the morning to be responsibly armed citizens to make a very, very bad decision because they cannot see a target, they shoot at a target they have not positively identified, and next thing you know, it's something that did not deserve to have rounds put into it. So it's arguably one of our most important classes, but unfortunately, just due to the nature of training environments, there's very few places that we can actually do it. So that's great to have this location to be able to shoot until all hours of the night.
Yeah, yeah, and you go over some of that in your briefings, which are just as valuable as the actual hands-on training, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think the students take away from the most from these low light classes?
If anything, just like we won't give it away, but the final exercise last night with low light handgun is to give people a moment of pause to realize that you can be the best shooter on a square range, but the moment the dark monster comes in and you have to bring your own lumens, you have to do just an exponential amount more of due diligence to make sure that you are shooting when you are supposed to be shooting. And I think, if anything, even if you don't necessarily become better, which you do if you're working with it, but even if you don't become better shooting in a low light environment, if you leave the class saying, I'm on a new path, I am now a beginner, and 1 8-hour class is not going to give me what I want just to be proficient at shooting in the dark.
Cooper, you want to say hi to the camera? Cooper, come here. Come here. You want to say hi? Come here. Say hi to people. You want to say hi? Are you interrupting my filming? Are you interrupting my filming? Charlie, you want to say hi too? Come here, Charlie. Charlie, come here. Yeah, you want to say hi? You say hi to people? You say hi? You got to interrupt my filming, don't you?